There's no denying that getting a bit of junk in your trunk and growing a booty have been popularized by people such as Brett Contreras and celebrities such as Kim Kardashian. And I think it's my duty as a personal trainer to help answer this question that I've recently been asked on YouTube. Do squats and leg press tone up the butt? Let's go to the whiteboard. Before we answer this question, we have to define what toning up means. Toning up equals building muscle plus losing fat. Fat loss, as we know, can only occur through creating a calorie deficit. We cannot spot reduce body fat by doing an exercise for a certain area. That's been proven many times in the research. There was a study in 2002 that concluded localized muscle training had no effect on localized adipose tissue depots or body fat, i.e. there was no spot reduction regardless of the characteristics of the population and of the exercise program. The popular belief concerning spot reduction is probably derived from wishful thinking and convenient marketing strategies, such as influencers seeking increased popularity and procedure sellers interested in increasing advertising. If you're doing sit-ups, it's not going to help you lose belly fat. In 2011, there was another study that concluded that 6 weeks of abdominal exercise training alone was not sufficient to reduce abdominal subcutaneous fat and other measures of body composition. Nevertheless, abdominal exercise training significantly improved muscular endurance to a greater extent than the control group that didn't do any ab work. It can help to build muscle, but losing fat comes down to creating a calorie deficit, which is burning more calories than you consume. So we can answer a portion of this question because toning up is building muscle and losing fat. And losing fat comes down to creating a calorie deficit. So squats and leg press cannot really help contribute to that, but they can help build muscle. But can they help build the glute muscle? When we're looking at what muscles are doing what in certain exercises, we have prime movers, which are target muscles and doing the majority of the work in a movement, and we also have synergists. These are muscles that aid in the exercise. For the squat, the prime movers are the quads. However, the glutes are synergists and they are still aiding in the exercise. Technique tips for the barbell back squat. What we want to do is take around 2 to 3 steps out of the squat rack. The less time we spend with the weight on our back, the better. With our upper body, elbows are pulling down and back. That way we're going to stabilize our upper back, create a nice shelf for the bar to sit on, and also we're going to engage our lats, which will help protect our spine as we squat. Our heels need to stay on the floor and our knees must line up with the trajectory of our toes. If we want to do a squat that recruits more glutes though, we don't want to do a high bar squat. We want to do a low bar squat where our shins are more vertical and we're doing more hip extension, which is going to help bias the glutes in the squat. The biggest difference between a high bar and a low bar squat is the bar placement. As you can see, it's across my rear deltoids and my grip is a bit wider. Elbows are still down and back. Now with the bar placement a bit lower on my back, I have to lean slightly forward to get the bar placement over the middle of my foot where I'm going to be the most stable and therefore the strongest. This is going to help bias the glutes, and also it's going to be a stronger squat because the glutes are a bigger muscle than the quadriceps. This squat is generally stronger because we're using bigger muscles. Since the leg press and the squat have the same movement pattern, they recruit the same muscles, they just look slightly different. They still use the quads as the prime mover, and as synergists they have the glutes. Technique tips for the leg press. The biggest thing I want you to think of is keeping your butt down on the pad, and the way that we can do that is by pulling ourselves down into the pad. That's going to help us stay down and prevent our lower back from coming up off the pad and rounding. That's the same effect of your lower back rounding in the bottom of a squat. Not very good. Also, you want to keep your heels down on the plate. We don't want them lifting. Lastly, make sure your knees are lining up with the trajectory of your toes, just like you would in a squat. If I now want to make this leg press bias the glutes and help me to tone up the glutes, then I'm going to put my feet higher. Putting my feet higher is going to do the same in the leg press as it does with the squat when I put the barbell lower on my back and do a low bar squat. It's going to help give me more vertical shins and more hip extension, less knee flexion. In English, more glutes, less quads. You can see with my foot placement, it's much higher on the platform, and that helps me to create more vertical shins, as I said before, and bias the glutes more with more hip extension and less knee extension or knee over toes. Same thing goes with my butt though. Pulling the handles, making sure my butt doesn't come off. With my head, I like to look down at my feet. You can put it back. It really doesn't matter because your spine isn't loaded like it is in a squat where your head position is a bit more crucial. Even though the leg press and the squat do help tone up the butt, they will help you build the muscle, and the calorie deficit will help you lose the fat. You do want to look at training your glutes in different positions as well. If you look at the bottom of a squat or the bottom of a leg press, that's where it's the hardest for the glutes. So we're only challenging the glutes in the stretched position, but you also want to challenge the glutes in the shortened position. And you could do that by including exercises like the barbell hip thrust. This is going to be easiest at the bottom and hardest at the top when you're squeezing your glutes and trying to lock out that weight. Same goes with the 45-degree back extension. It's easy at the bottom, and as you get closer and closer to the top, that's where your glutes are really working and squeezed, and that is the shortened position. And when you're trying to grow muscle, it's good to challenge muscles in lengthened and shortened positions. If you want to turn up your glutes and literally don't know where to start, you can go to teambrockashby.com or hit the link in description and you will go straight to my programs page, where my programs can help you transform you to the body that you want to achieve. And if you found this video helpful and educational, then I think you'll also find this video valuable, where I show you the 7 best exercises to do at home to grow your glutes.